that we need the rain, and it gives life to everything. Well, so we thank you for that, and we also want to pray that you may protect us when we go home later this afternoon, and that you'll just be with us now, Yeshua Mashiach, and all that we do even later. Because we thank you. Amen.
Amen. Keep going on the songs, yes? Oh, okay. So, one I've wanted to do for a while, bottom of page 7. Old Gaither tune. There's something about that name, and of course I changed it to Yeshua. For our sakes here. Yeshua, Yeshua, Yeshua. There's just something about that name. Master, Savior, Yeshua, like a fragrance after the rain. Yeshua, 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 let all heaven and earth proclaim. Kings and kingdoms will all pass away, but there's something about that name. Let's do that again from the top. Yeshua, Yeshua, Yeshua. There's just something about that name. Master, Savior, Yeshua, like a fragrance after the rain. Yeshua, 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 let all heaven and earth proclaim. Kings and kingdoms will all pass away, but there's something about that name. Beauty. Oh, man. Still taking requests. What's that? Oh, I see. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Top of page 11. In my heart, there rings a melody. I have a song Yeshua gave me. It was sent from heaven above. There never was a sweeter melody. It's a melody of love. In my heart there rings a melody. There rings a melody in heaven's harmony. In my heart there rings a melody. There rings a melody of love. I love the Christ who died on Calvary, for he washed my sins away. He put within my heart a melody, and I know it's there to stay. In my heart there rings a melody, there rings a melody in heaven's harmony. In my heart there rings a melody, there rings a melody of love. Green book right there if you want one more. till the endless beam in glory. Like the angels I will sing, will be a song of glorious harmony, when the chorus of heaven sings. In my heart there rings a melody, there rings a melody, in heaven's harmony. In my heart there rings a melody, there rings a melody of love. Chorus again. In my heart there rings a melody, there rings a melody, with heaven's harmony. In my heart there rings a melody, there rings a melody of love. Wow, right on. One more?
Coffee, we just need him to.
Yeah. Who needs coffee? Coffee, coffee. We need well. Yeah. Oh, you know one that I do want to do is jewels. This one's for the kids because they are precious in His sight. Oh boy.
What page?
Yeah, let's do top of page 12. Jewels. This is an old one. This is from my childhood. So. Oh, that's telling you. Oh, okay, so.
Let's all stand up to wake up. Enlarge our lungs.
When he comes. Oh, I might have the wrong key here. Hang on here. Wait. When he cometh to make up his jewels, all his jewels, precious jewels, his love and his own. Like the stars of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright gems for his crown. He will gather the gems for his kingdom, all the pure ones, all the bright ones, his love and his own. Like the stars of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright gems for his crown. Little children who love their Redeemer are the jewels, precious jewels, his love and his own. Like the stars of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright gems for his crown. Like the stars of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright gems for his crown. For his crown.
I think I'm ready to take my phone. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I tend to do it on.
I'm moving it away. It is okay.
So it's actually just one thing. I just wasn't sure. Oh, I haven't practiced for a long time. Kind of put me on the spot. I haven't practiced.
Oh. Encore! Encore! You got another one there.
She's got another one? Okay.
Oh. You're among friends. Come on. Family, actually.
That's worse. It means I have to see you again.
Stagger to the heart.
It's easier to play for strangers.
I'll be okay. Talk amongst yourself.
It's bleeding.
Mhm.
No pictures, no pictures.
Oh, yeah, she doesn't like her picture taken. Right on. Nice. What was the name of that last one?
I know that my Redeemer lives.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
All right, everyone. We have come to the last message of our camp, and it has been a joyful and exciting week. The part of your lives in 2 nights and 3 days, and we would like to welcome Brother Itunet to come and share a message for us. before he comes, there are kind of an envelopes in here, and if you are able to give something for our host, the owner of our house, for the utility bills and everything, where you are welcome to do so. So we are, they have blessed us for all the days that we stay here, and we would like to bless them, help them out in the utility bills, gas, and everything to maintain the place. So we thank you for that. Brother Anthony, please.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm sure you had a good time like I've had. What's that song again? What do you call it? That song just took me back, like when I was this time. I attended a Baptist school,
Oh,
and that song.
Jewels?
Sorry?
The one,
Jewels,
Precious
yeah.
Jewels, yeah. Mhm.
I attended a Baptist school, and that song was in our Baptist
Your hymnal?
hymnal.
Ah, love it.
So it just took me back.
Yeah, me too.
Favorites.
Sorry?
Baptist favorites.
Baptist favorite. Can we
Yeah.
sing it again? Bring one of those favorites. Can we sing it
Oh,
again?
sure.
It just took me back like.
Yeah, I love it.
I started in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, singing that song.
Somebody's sweet.
Bad time.
Yeah.
So, am I singing? I know you were going to help me.
You want, oh, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I just, was concentrating on eating my lunch. Okay. I'm old, I forget chords.
When he cometh to make up his jewels, all his jewels, precious jewels, his love and his own. Like the stars of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright and for his crown. He will gather the gems for his kingdom, all the pure ones, all the bright ones, his love and his own. Like the stars of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright gems for his crown. Little children who love their Redeemer are the jewels, precious jewels, his love and his own. Like the stars of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright gems for his crown. Like the stars of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, like gems for his crown.
Happy Father's Day. Oh, yes. To all you fathers, yes. Sweet.
Yeah, these children are the precious jewels.
Amen to that.
Yeah, children, they are blessed to be here, to be among the people of God. It's the greatest thing. You know, the greatest blessing to be with God's people and be around people who love Torah, who love God's word. There's no greater blessing. I'm sure they don't even understand fully. But as they grow older, they will begin to appreciate, you know, being around, you know, people of God and God's word. Because those are that's what this world is. That's what holds up the world. Um, just before I came up here, my mom called me to wish me Happy Father's Day. So
Nice.
that was very special. um, yeah, I just started thinking, maybe I should. Shavuot is a very it's a very special and very unique festival. It's the only one that doesn't seem to have any specific mitzvah attached to it, right?
Yeah.
And even the date, you know, almost all the other festivals, the specific dates, you know, like Passover, 15th of Nisan, 1st of Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, and Sukkot is on the 15th. All right. So that's Yom Kippur. 15th of Tishrei is Yom Kippur. And then, is it 21st? That's Sukkot. So yeah, but Shavuot doesn't have a specific date attached to it. So it's very unique. I heard a lot of stuff before, but I was just thinking of this. One of the traditions in Judaism during this time is called the PK Avot. I don't know if do you know what PK Avot is? Sorry?
A good appetite? She says.
Sayings of the fathers, ethics of the fathers, yeah. So yeah, so PK Avot is the sayings of the fathers and the Talmud, and it's most of the time, and you know, but this particular tractate, the Ethics of the Fathers, is it's just full of wise sayings, maxims, you know, things that you can remember. In fact, there's a Messianic Jewish theologian, I think Brad Young. He did a study on the PK Avot, and he identified, I can't remember how many, but lots of the New Testament. Like he was able to track a lot of the saints from the Ethics of the Fathers, and a lot of the New Testament. I mean, a good chunk was taken from the Ethics of the Fathers, because sometimes, you know, I don't know. I'm sure we've all watched the movie Jesus of Nazareth. Has anybody watched, or is there anyone who has not seen the movie Jesus of Nazareth? You've seen it, or you've not seen it?
Not seen it.
Not seen Jesus of Nazareth. Wow.
That's it. We're not friends anymore.
You haven't seen Jesus of Nazareth. Wow.
What was it made again?
It's not
Oh,
bad.
boy.
80s? I'm wondering if I've seen it. Maybe it's been a while.
I used to watch it when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, I've seen a Jesus movie.
Yeah.
Specific one you're talking about.
This one is like the original Jesus movie, like Jesus of Nazareth.
Okay, I know what I've seen it. Okay.
Sorry?
Now I know what you're talking about.
We're not born yet.
Yeah, it's
I wasn't accepted yet.
Look at the line of
that
people who
here,
raise
I'll
their
just,
hands. I understand.
it's 1977.
I I understand.
Okay.
So,
Because you got too many calluses, it's like they think you're
so,
hitting it with a flipper or something. Can you spell the Jewish
PK Avot,
PK?
yeah, Pirkei,
Kei, Avot.
Avot.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well,
Thank you.
One thing I just wanted to make is, it's actually the 10th of Yom Kippur, the 15th is Sukkot. I just looked it up.
Oh, you said it up. Okay,
Yeah,
the
just looked
10th
it up.
is,
I just wanted to clarify.
okay, good. The 10th is
The 10th
Yom
is
Kippur,
Yom
yes,
Kippur,
because,
the 15th is Sukkot.
okay, good. So I was, yeah, I'm mixing up all
It's
the.
okay, it's fine. I just wanted
So
to-
like the 10th, that's why we have the 10 days of awe, right?
Yeah.
So from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, we have 10 days that we can, 10 days of repentance. And I think the Revelation talks about 10 days, so it's, see there's a connection there. And then Sukkot is on the 15th of Tishri. So, and of course we know about Sukkot is the festival of the nations, like in the Messianic kingdom, the nations that don't attend Sukkot, they won't have rain. So yeah, it's important. It just highlights the importance of Sukkot. And talking about the PK and vote, I mean, there are so many classical sayings from the PK and vote that I don't know if you've heard this one. It's one of the it's one of the it's one of the traditional readings of this time of the year. So because there's 6 chapters in the PK book, so the first, so between Passover and Shavuot, I think there's 6 Shabbats. So traditionally they will read a chapter of the PK book every Shabbat up till Sukkot. And it's a collection of ethical teachings, like I mentioned, and maxims from the Mishnah. And one very popular saying in the PK Avot by Rabbi Hillel the Elder, he said, "If I'm not for me, who will be for me? And when I am for myself alone, what am I? And if not now, then when?" Did you get that? So he said, if I am not for me, who will be for me? So if I don't advocate for myself, who will advocate for me, right? You have to take care of yourself. And then, and when I'm for myself alone, what am I? Like if you only take care of yourself, what does that make you? Right? And if not now, when? So basically take action, right? So very wise maxims like that. So he says this saying is Rabbi Hillel's emphasis on the importance of self-advocacy, community responsibility, and urgency of action. So there's so many of them that are just beautiful sayings. Another one, he says, make your Torah fixed, say little and do much, and receive every person with a pleasant countenance. Right? So make your Torah fixed, say little and do much, and receive every person with a pleasant countenance. I mean, those are brilliant words, right? And it's essentially saying that we should make studying the Torah a regular habit, and that we should value deeds over words, right? Say little, do much. and that we should treat others with kindness and a welcoming attitude. So these are, and I think the thing about the PK about some in some traditions they study it all summer long. Because during the summer, everybody's out and about, vacationing, and there's that tendency for levity to set in, right? People become carefree, a little bit carefree. So these ethics of fathers help to, ground you and make you focus on what is important. So, any questions or comments about those two parts?
Yeah, when's the start date? Do you read one chapter per Shabbat?
Well, traditionally, like between Passover and Shavuot, I think there's 6 Shabbats. So traditionally, they read like a chapter of the Pirkei Avot each Sabbath.
Okay.
Until
And it's like just a collection of like proverbs, one-liners.
Well, one-liners.
Okay.
Sense. Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice sense.
And of course, that would depend on you. If you want to read a chapter too, it's up to you as well. Like,
Okay.
to go exactly by the Jews, but that's what the Jewish tradition suggests to do that.
Okay.
So the reason I brought up the Jesus of Nazareth movie, which I feel so disappointed that you haven't watched.
I just wasn't.
They're not even my friends.
I've seen it.
So
Stop.
disappointed.
Oh,
The reason I brought
it's
it
on
up,
YouTube.
I remember the
yeah,
name of it, that's why.
it's a very old movie.
I think the last time I saw it was probably 20 years ago, so
Yeah.
that's probably why I forgot the name of it.
I know I'm dating myself by talking about Jesus of Nazareth, because a lot of Jesus movies have come out since then, right?
Yeah.
Which are much better, right? Because I mean, it's just like the Exodus movie as well. Like you've seen the Exodus movie.
Yeah.
You haven't. Like seriously.
You know what YouTube is? Yeah.
No.
You haven't seen the Exodus movie. Oh my goodness.
You know, it's a free app and you can watch free stuff. Yeah. Free.
So
The Ten Commandments.
the 10 Commandments, yeah. The Exodus movie, the 10 Commandments. You've not seen it. You've not seen the movie. By what's this?
Charlton Heston is
Charlton
in
Heston,
10 minutes.
um,
Exodus is Paul Newman,
Oh,
the first one.
okay, the first one. Okay, yeah, sorry. So I'm talking about the 10 Commandments by
Charlton.
Charlton Heston.
Yeah, Charlton Heston, Neil Brenner.
And Yul Brenner. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yul Brenner. Ooh, overacting
In
king.
fact, it's a sin not to watch those movies.
I
Scratch that. Yeah.
I have a comment on the new Ten Commandments, don't waste your time.
Oh yeah, the new 10 Commandments movie is.
Don't waste your time. You watched it. You were so disappointed. There's mistakes. They show like you can see a scene where the actor's wearing jeans while they're shooting the part where they're racing. Don't waste your time watching the new one. The old one is really good.
Yeah, the old one is good. I mean,
Is it the Levites?
I know it's a lot better than the
Levites.
new one for the technology.
I can believe that the Levites wore jeans because it's very practical.
That's where Levi jeans came from. The Levi jeans.
Priestly garments.
Priestly garments.
I can believe they wore jeans.
Oh, wow.
So disappointed.
Yeah, so disappointed. I talk about those classical movies. So part of the reason why I brought like Jesus of Nazareth movie in particular was because one thing I find, I would say it's kind of amusing to me now. Like, in the movie, Jesus is depicted as if he's some kind of, sometimes he's staring in a very strange way, right? And he had some hand movements and things. Like, it's almost as if, he's some kind of shaman. I don't know which words to use, but there's a way he's presented which feels a little bit weird. I mean, Jesus is a Jew, and he comes from a prophetic tradition, right? So there's a tradition we can look at, the rabbis who lived around that time, to kind of get an idea of how he would have taught, and a lot of his sayings, were similar to the teachers of his time, right? So it's important to know that and to understand. Just this statement, Jesus was a Jew, put somebody in trouble. Yeah. I forget who said it. He just said Jesus was a Jew. He said it on his social media or something, and you won't believe all the responses that came. Because the perception today is that
That's a bad thing.
yeah, either it was a bad thing or that he dropped his Judaism, or something. Like, you'll be surprised that statement, Jesus was a Jew. You won't believe how impactful it is among certain groups.
And just to confirm that too, not too long in the 1900s, they were like, if you mentioned it, like, they'd be like, what are you talking about? Jesus was a Jew.
Yeah.
Now with the history and more people, archaeology, they're starting to open their eyes up a little bit more to the reality.
Yeah, because and there's a scripture that talks about those who deny the humanity of Jesus. I know people have, I think they've like interpreted that scripture to mean, I think the Gnostics and the people of that time, they would see, they have this view of Jesus as if he wasn't human, right? That he was more
Deity.
deity than God, like, than human, right? Yeah. And I think it's in the book of John, I don't know where it is exactly, where it says, those who deny the humanity of Jesus are of the Antichrist. Yeah. Right? Because as much as we talk about the deity of Yeshua, his humanity is really important and changes everything. And those who deny the humanity of Yeshua are of the Antichrist. That's what he says in the book of John. And along with his humanity, we can't talk about Yeshua's humanity without talking about his Judaism. Right? He was a Jew. Yeah. And we could look at how Jews of that time, how they behaved, and we can have an idea. I mean, I don't know if you've heard the story of only the circle drawer. So there was this rabbi around the time of Yeshua called only circle drawer. Does anyone know the story of? Does anyone not know the story about only the circle drawer?
The circle drawer?
The circle drawer.
Oh.
Yeah. So there was this rabbi. There was a rabbi. He was like a Jewish sage, and if I remember the story correctly, there was no rain at the time. I know rain is a constant problem, challenge in Israel. So his students will go to him, the people will go to him and say, please, can you pray to God for rain? Right? Can you pray to God to send down rain? Then he will draw a circle. He will draw a circle around himself and say, God, I'm not leaving this circle until you send down rain. And then rain started pouring down. And then it was raining so hard, he had to talk to God again and say, please, you know, because rain can be a blessing and it can be otherwise as well, you know. And then you pray to God again and say, please, Lord, have mercy. Like, this is too much. And then the rain calm down. So I said that to say that there were rabbis at the time of Yeshua, who did miracles as well. Even Yeshua mentioned it, that at one time he was saying that, I think his disciples came to him, like, we see people, they are doing miracles, they are doing stuff like, and he now said, so why you know, one time he said that those who are not with us are against us or something like that, but another time he said, yeah, you know, even though they are not in our group, it's okay. You know, so there were rabbis who worked miracles even around the time of Yeshua. And it's important we know some of these things because sometimes it seems we just extract Yeshua from that prophetic tradition. Almost, in fact, virtually everything Yeshua did was grounded in the Torah, maybe not Torah exactly, but Tanakh, right? Everything he did, every single action he took, you could trace it back to the Tanakh. You know, raising the dead, everything he did. You know, Elijah raised the dead, Elisha as well, right? So he came from a prophetic tradition. Let me go back to. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Yeah.
I just wanted to, so that rabbi you're talking about, who drew the circle,
Yeah.
do you know the name of that rabbi?
Only circle drawer.
Oh, okay, I'm thinking of a different one, because interesting you mentioned that. So, because Tim Hegg did some research on Matthew Vaughn, and he's also talked about by them as well, that when he was a water bearer as well. And when he started to pray, because there was no rain, it was dry, and he needed water for the people who were, I forget what celebration it was, shows up. They show up, and he needs to bring water, but hasn't rained. So he starts praying, it's falling like buckets, like somewhat similar story, except for there's no circle. He just starts praying, and the people are mocking him. Who are you to pray to God? You know, and but he's praying, and the water starts pouring down, and then he gets very rich. But he ends up a pauper because he gave a lot of it away and all that. So he ended up dying without any money, because the rabbi said because somebody who's righteous, also because maybe he had to return a lot of what he took. So anyway, that was another story.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was asking the name of the person.
Yeah, this one is only somebody else. Valid, authentic.
And this one's authentic too, like they actually talk about it, the rabbis do talk about the same, could be the same Matthew Vaughn that's mentioned in the
Maybe it's the same person.
It might be the same person. I know sometimes.
Yeah, maybe.
Just like as I told you the story now.
They just didn't mention the circle part for whatever reason.
Oh, this one is like if you Google it, only the second door.
Yeah.
You see stories about it.
Yes.
Another saying from the Ikea book says, "It is your responsibility. It is not your responsibility to finish the work, but neither are you free to desist from it." So it is not your responsibility to finish the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. So here Rabbi Tafon teaches that while one may not be able to complete all tasks, one must still engage in the work that needs to be done. Right? Let me go to one more or two more. Let's see. Another one is, beloved is the man, is man, for he was created in the image of God. Especially beloved is he, for it was made known to him that he had been created in the image of God. So, beloved is man, for he was created in the image of God. Especially beloved is he, for it was made known to him that he has been created in the image of God. So this saying highlights the inherent value and dignity of every human being, as each person is created in the divine image. And that's why we respect life, because everyone was created in God's image. And that's why we hold life as sacred. Going back to the 10 words or the 10 commandments, as it's popularly known, you don't have the right to take another person's life, because everyone was created in God's image. Right? Everyone has the neshama of God, because in the book of Genesis we are told that God breathed into man the breath of life. Right?
Yeah. Yet it's prescribed to kill certain.
Okay, yeah, going back to that. So we do not murder, right? We do not murder. But in the Torah as well, it's okay to kill when capital punishment is Torah's way. If you take the law into your hands and you take another's life, then your own life should be taken. Right? So that's Torah law. Yeah.
What's the other situation? There's a couple other situations as well. You're talking about something different, but there's two situations though where God says that he literally does tell them when they're going into the land, you destroy every person. Right? And some people have a hard time with that, but it's because the sin that they had committed against God was so great, and it would have turned them against him. He knew this. So when they go in, he's saying, men, women, children, all of them, you destroy them all. You do not keep a single one alive. It wasn't because, it wasn't because he was obviously giving them opportunities before this. Otherwise, he wouldn't have, been like, he knew the timing was right. He was like, okay, that's it. You keep going. But in the other situation is where a war is going on, right?
Yeah.
And if they're coming to take you first, save the Holocaust, because the Allies said, okay, we're not going to us and these other nations necessarily. We're going to band together and we're going to have to destroy, not obviously not those who weren't part of it on purpose, but those who were the fighting men absolutely had to be destroyed. So but that changes kind of the context a little bit of what you're trying to say here.
So my thoughts about that, because I didn't realize that. Well, I didn't think of that. So going back to the subject of killing, right? And so I started with the fact that we are all made in God's image, right? And because of that, we respect life. In fact, I was listening to news about there's an organization, like during these wars they're fighting in Israel. There's an organization that goes about picking up body parts of maybe dead soldiers and all that, like body parts, every single bone or ear or eye or hand they find. They go about picking it up and giving it a proper burial. Just showing you how much they value life, right? Value the human being, right? Value the fact that even the body, because it is the container that contains the neshama of God, that gives it value, even the body. That's why, a lot of times when they, like this unfortunate war, sometimes when they do these hostage swaps, because they can swap one Israeli or Jewish prisoner for like 1,000 terrorists, because they know how much value they place on human soul, which they don't, obviously. On the flip side, they don't value human life, right? So going back to that issue of
Capital punishment.
well, capital punishment is one thing. That one is straightforward. It's black and white. If you kill, you should be killed.
Yeah.
You know.
Even adultery, though. I mean, they killed
Yeah.
adulterers.
But all these things were during, when the Sanhedrin, when the Jewish court was in place, the temple was in place. So they had a structure.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those structures don't exist today, right?
Yeah.
But in the Messianic kingdom, that is the law. That's the law that we follow. So the issue of killing, capital punishment, straightforward. Do not murder, straightforward, right? The one that's a bit tricky, and which people who don't believe the Bible use to criticize the Bible, is the one where, you were mentioning about when Jews go into a land, they will kill everybody, men, women, everything, animals. So my thoughts about that is, at a certain period, God was using the children of Israel as his direct agents of judgment. So at that point, they were like extension of God's hands, if I'll put it that way. They were executing God's judgment against these people whose cup of iniquity was full. They had reached a certain level where God wanted to kill. I mean, if they didn't do it, if the children of Israel didn't do it, God could do it directly. I mean, there are many instances in the Bible where he just went around the camp and eliminated them, right? So, but it appears from going through the Tanakh, it seemed like after a certain period of time, God decided to stop using children of Israel as his agents to execute judgment on people. And I think in somewhere in Isaiah it says, I looked, there was no man, and my own arm brought salvation. Right? So there was a period of time, they kind of transitioned out of that, executing that judgment direct. Because what Bible critics will say is that, oh, in your Bible it says you should go and slaughter people. And that's what the Muslims are doing, right? Mm-hmm. Where they go to a town, they kill everybody. So that's when you Torah needs interpretation, right? And it needs to be interpreted in the light of the whole context.
Yeah.
And that's why we keep going back to the sages, and to the wise men of the Jewish tradition, because they've been reading this thing for 3,000 years. They've encountered almost any situation that you can think of today, right? Of course, we know that there are some pitfalls that we should avoid, but sometimes, especially for things like this, there's very good, reasonable explanations for why we can't do that. And because the Muslims and some fundamentalists who don't understand that, okay, God's not doing this anymore, because the Crusaders were kind of doing the same thing, right? That's fundamentalism, when you're being too literal in the interpretation of scripture and you're not really getting the full context.
Okay.
It causes a lot of problems. So God has transitioned away from doing that, even though the Bible critics will keep harping on that. So yeah. Then was that another one? Okay, this is another good one. Say, who is wise? He who learns from every person. Who is mighty? He who controls his impulses. Who is rich? He who is happy with his portion. Who is honored? He who honors others. So Benzoma defines wisdom, strength, wealth, and honor, not in conventional terms, but through learning self-control, contentment, and respect for others. So a wise person learns from every person. And a mighty person is not one who can show strength, right? He's the one that can restrain himself, right? Because you would instinctively think that the mighty person is the one that can bully and,
A lot of force.
use a lot of force. And God is the ultimate example of that. Because, I mean, God can wipe up, just like nuclear weapons, God can wipe out the whole earth in 1 second. But he restrains himself. Right? After all, I'm sure going by God's standards, the whole earth probably deserves to be wiped, right? But God keeps restraining himself and being patient with us. And the one who is rich is the one who is happy and content with his portion, right? I may not have as much as the other person, but when I'm happy and I'm contented and I'm like, if God wanted me to have what that other person has, he will give it to me. I mean, I'll do my best, right? But I'm not a Zuckerberg or something, right? Right? And I heard an interesting, someone trying to explain, someone like Mark Zuckerberg, who's became a billionaire in, how old was he? It might not be the best conventional explanation or reasoning, but he was saying that the person believes in reincarnation. I was saying that some people are like, they are this many years old in this world, right? But they have come back.
Like reincarnation.
They have been reincarnated, and they're like, he might be a 20-year-old in his body, but he's like a 90-year-old in his mind. He's been through cycles, right?
Is this what rabbis say?
Yeah, so rabbis, who
they-
believe in reincarnation. So, and then who is honored? He who honors others, right? So these sayings from Peter are going to provide timeless wisdom on personal growth, social responsibility, and the pursuit of a meaningful life. They encourage self-reflection, learning, and ethical behavior in interaction with others. So let me go backwards. There's one interesting. I don't know how many more minutes do I have.
We gotta vacate the premises at 2. It's 11:30.
Yeah. Okay. So there's one interesting scripture that I saw that I would like to share. Um, so it's in the book of Genesis and Exodus. In the book of Exodus. So there were 2 separate instances, right, of darkness related to the Egyptian Exodus, right? So the first one was the 9th plague, right? In Exodus 10, verse 24. Exodus 10, 24. Let me read from there. Or someone can read. Exodus 10, 24.
I got it. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, Go ye, serve the Lord. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your little ones.
Sorry, start from 21, sorry.
Sorry, Exodus 10:21.
Yes.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt.
So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and there was pitch darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. And we did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days, but all the people of Israel had light where they lived. So that was the first instance of darkness, right? Related to the Exodus.
Wow.
The second instance of darkness related to the Exodus happened as they crossed the Red Sea. And that's in Exodus 14, from verse 19 to 20. You can read that as well if you find it.
19 to 20?
Exodus 14, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, the angel of God, who's going ahead of the camp of Israel, moved away and went behind them. The column of cloud moved away from in front of them and stood behind them. It stationed itself between the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel. There was cloud and darkness here, but light by night there, so that the one did not come near the other all night long.
So what do you understand by what you just read?
Again, another darkness that they could not light up. They couldn't light it up.
So what happened was, the children of Israel, when they were moving through the wilderness, there was a pillar of, in fact, that pillar of cloud was what led them. Whenever it moved, they moved. Whenever it stopped, they stopped. The thing could be moving for years and it kept moving. Well, yeah. Right? Sometimes when you're saying this thing, it sounds weird. Like, it's moving for years and they keep moving. It doesn't sound. It could move for years and they just kept moving. It could move for a few days and stop. Yeah. They would stop. Yeah. So I find it difficult sometimes to imagine that kind of existence. Where the cloud moves, it can move for 1 day, they move, and they stop. And then it moves for 3 years, then it stops. And then they stop. They don't know how long they're going to wait. It could be in one place for, I think there was once it stopped for like 18 years somewhere. And every day they were ready for the cloud to move. Yeah. So it's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing to imagine and think about how God led the children of Israel through the wilderness. So this cloud that led them, when they were running from the Egyptian army, it went behind them. Yeah. And then it became light for them and became darkness for their enemies. So, and because when I read this verse in a lot of translations, it didn't make a lot of sense when it said, so read that last verse again.
Sure. Verse 20. It stationed itself between the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel. There was cloud and darkness here, but light by night there, so that the one did not come near the other all night long.
So let me read that verse from the Amplified Bible. It says, so it came between the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel. Mm-hmm. It was a cloud along with darkness, even by day to the Egyptians. So the cloud was darkness, even by day to the Egyptians. but it gave light by night to the Israelites. So even in the daytime, that cloud was dark and it was night for the Egyptians. And even at night, it was daytime for the Israelites, right? But it gave light by night to the Israelites. So one army did not come near the other all night. So because of that, the army of Israel and the army of Egypt were separated by that cloud. There could be no interaction. The cloud just came between them. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's the second instance of darkness. So the first one was when they were in the land of Egypt. The darkness was so thick they couldn't see each other. But the Israelites, the Jews, they had light. Right? So that's the second instance. So there's a stark contrast between these instances and the darkness at Sinai. So let's read Exodus 19, verse 16.
Okay, I'll read here.
Okay.
On the morning of the third day, there was thunder, lightning, and a thick cloud on the mountain. Then a shofar blast sounded so loudly that all the people in the camp trembled.
Okay, so where is the darkness?
In that translation.
So please, I'm looking for that translation. Where is the darkness? So 1916.
1916?
Yes.
There's no darkness on the side.
Somebody else have darkness in there? Because we have two different ones, and so,
So far, the
darkness.
darkness.
Have the third one here, and see what mine says. And
On
somebody
the
else
third day, when morning came, there was thunder and lightning, and a thick cloud on the mountain, and a loud trumpet sound, so that all the people in the camp shuddered. Then Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was completely enveloped in smoke, because the Lord had came down in fire. Its smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain shook violently. As the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him in the thunder.
So where is
The word darkness.
Smoke.
Yeah, the smoke.
The smoke's the
The
darkness.
smoke is darkness, right?
Worse, actually, because you're
Yeah, but
crying
yeah.
and.
Well, I was still a little bit disappointed because I didn't see darkness. I was, trying to find darkness, right? Just I couldn't find it. So, so while he doesn't use the word darkness explicitly, right? The imagery of smoke and cloud can imply a darkened atmosphere, right? But then, let's look at Hebrews chapter 12, verse 18.
Hebrews what?
18.
12:18. Thank you.
Excuse me. I'm going to restart this one.
So what does it say there?
For you have not come to a tangible mountain, to an ignited fire, to darkness, to murk, to a whirlwind, to the sound of a shofar, and to a voice whose words made the hearers beg that no further message be given to them.
Great. So I found my word darkness there.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt better when I found it there. Because I was like, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna, because I don't know if you all got it too, but Roger found this video, and it talks about how during World War II, the pilots were flying over there, a few different American pilots, especially, maybe some British too, but it was American ones, were flying. And there was a certain area that the people who lived there were told this pilot, don't get too close to that mountain. And he could actually see that on this mountain, this one specific mountain, because there's other mountains in that area, it was black.
Oh, you won't see that.
So they actually, so it's quite possible that probably is the Mount Sinai that's talked about here. So it was dark on the top, then part of it was the regular color again. So it was like something came down, and he just, even instinctively, he's like, I'm not even going near that, because he just felt like if he tried, something, something might happen.
He did.
So he would fly around it and just circle, because it was war, right? So he was looking for possible enemies, so.
So yeah, because I think there's uncertainty about where Mount Sinai is, right?
Yeah. Some people actually, but a lot of these people who saw it, they weren't interviewed, but some of them did interview, and they did say, yeah, we remember this pilot remembers seeing this darkness on this mountain, and it was the only one that had it.
Like a burnt
Yeah.
top of it, yeah.
Yeah, part of the top
But
of it
then
was.
we read in the Bible there yesterday, we just ended when we were in our little circle group here, the well had us reading, and the verse just before we started talked about Mount Horeb. So some people think Mount Horeb is also Mount Sinai, two names for the same mountain. So called by different names, but yeah, it's the one with the burn marks on top. Essentially.
And interesting what they say, what the CD say about Mount Sinai, that I mean, why is such a lofty thing that's given the Torah? Why didn't it happen on Mount Sinai? Right?
Mhm.
Why didn't it happen in the most important geographical location on earth? It didn't happen on Mount Sinai. It happened on Mount Sinai,
Oh.
right? It happened on Mount Sinai. God chose. I mean, they speculate about why God chose Mount Sinai. One reason is that they suggest is that Sinai was outside the land of Israel.
It was.
Right? So that is to imply that the Torah is not, it has universal application. It's not for
Oh,
That's correct.
yeah,
oh,
That's correct.
yeah,
That's correct.
laws inside and outside the land.
exactly. I mean, the Torah has laws, a lot of laws actually, the 613 commandments, right? A lot of them cannot be fulfilled outside the land, right? But when God gave the 10 words, He gave it outside the land. And to suggest that this has universal application. And in fact, one other thing that he said that it was given in 70 languages. And then now you begin to connect it with what happened in Acts chapter 2, where they spoke in different languages.
Yeah.
So in fact, everything that happened in Acts chapter 2, you can find in the tradition. Everything.
Yeah.
Tongues of fire and all that.
Yeah.
You know, when I was I attended the Pentecostal church, and Brother Lowell was talking about yesterday how people say that the church started in Pentecost and all that stuff. Or everything described in Acts chapter 2, they've always had that tradition that everything that happened in Acts chapter 2 happened on Sinai. It was in 70 languages. There was five. In fact, they saw. He says they saw the. How do I say it now? They saw the voice. So the eyes heard.
Well, the darkness was felt as well in that first.
The darkness was felt,
It
right?
was felt.
Yeah. So the senses just flipped because it seems like there seems to have been a limitation on the five senses when Adam sinned. So when things are restored, you'll probably be able to hear with your eyes. Really interesting stuff. Like even the trees in the garden. I've heard suggestions that the the whole tree was the food. Part of the curse was that now you have fruits, you have leaves, you have a branch. Previous to the curse, it was the whole tree that was the food. Interesting. So, so we found the darkness, right, in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 18, right? So that's the third instance of darkness related to the Exodus. Now, let me just drive on my point here. So at Sinai, the darkness was present, not for the enemy, but for the Israelites themselves. So in the first two instances, there was darkness in the Egyptian camp, there was light in the Israelite camp. In the second instance, when the cloud came between the two armies, there was darkness in the Egyptian camp, there was light in the Israelite camp. But the darkness of Sinai was for the Israelites. Right? So here's an explanation I got for that. He taught the Israelites that the world can be dark without logic or sense or purpose. Only the Torah can shed light on a man's life by providing the answer to three fundamental questions: where he came from, where he is, and where he's heading. He taught them that all powers and all beliefs are nothing but darkness, and by comparison. So that's the explanation about darkness, because all the other previous instances of darkness was the enemies, darkness on the side of the enemies, light on the side of Israelites. But here now, there was darkness on Sinai when God gave them the Torah. And it's supposed to teach them that all powers and all beliefs are nothing but darkness in comparison to the light of the Torah. I mean, there's a whole bunch I can talk about, but I think I should stop here. What do you think?
Wonderful. It was great. But I got a million questions.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, you want to say something?
I was just looking at the meanings for Sinai and Horeb. In ancient Mesopotamian, Sinai means sin, or it's thought to mean sin. And Sinai was thought to be a mountain where the deity of the sun was worshipped, and Horeb was where the moon deity was worshipped. And so the literal meanings in Arabic now, Sinai means praise and brilliance. So Sinai, if it's burnt on top and the meaning is brilliance, like it just kind of causes like that flip again, the light and the darkness and the divider between, right? You see the mountain darkened on the top, but God is there. So there's the brilliance is there as well. So you've got the two opposites divided in the middle,
Yeah, divided in the middle.
right? And then Horeb means desert, dry place, and glowing slash heat. So like a glowing kind of heat. So I just find that interesting
Yes.
addition to because what you were saying. It just because whether it's Sinai or Horeb or they're both the same place, they mean darkness that's glowing at the same time.
You know, what you just said brings to mind God is the only one that can combine darkness and light, glowing darkness. If you look at the seventh plague, right, of the Exodus, when they were in the land of Israel. Sorry, when they were in the land of Egypt, the seventh plague, I don't know if you've noticed that. It was hailstones, right? It was hailstones, which is ice, with fire in the hailstones.
Sulfur, maybe like brimstone,
Brimstone. But it was ice coexisting, so it was fire and water coexisting as one entity.
Fire and ice. Yeah.
Right? Maybe we should let's read that. End with this. Exodus. What plague was it now? The seventh plague, right? Exodus chapter 9. Verse 13.
Verse 19?
Yeah, that's right.
Kelvin finish.
No, I just found it. I was just saying verse 19. You want to go ahead, Leslie?
Okay. So we were just noticing that it's interesting, and if you look at the story of, so when Moshe goes up here, they're waiting for him to come down, and he's taking too long, so Herod's down supposed to help kind of keep some order. He builds the golden calf out of their gold earrings and all that they bring. And then, of course, God sees what's happening, and then Moshe comes down, and when he's down, he calls out to all those who are for God, come on this side. And the Levites go, and they kill 3,000 men and women. But in Shavuot, it's been interesting to see how 2,000
We're saved.
are saved.
That's the tikkun.
The opposite.
That's the tikkun. It's always so
Interesting.
that's the redemption
Yeah.
that always happens, right? 3,000 were killed.
Yeah.
When 3,000 were killed in
The golden calf.
the golden calf incident.
Yeah.
So the 3,000 that were saved in Acts is the repair of the 3,000 who were killed as a
Many years later.
as a restoration.
Just interesting, we never noticed that comparison before. Also, the other thing I would mention about the Shavuot one, I don't know when Pirkei Avot was written. However, when it comes to the 70 languages, I would believe that what was going on wasn't that, I believe that it was actually written in one when the people went. But when the 70 languages were coming out and these miracles were happening, the rabbis and the Pharisees didn't know what to do. And so many people were coming to believe in Yeshua. So now they needed to make up a story.
No,
The story, I don't necessarily believe that the 70 tongues were original.
story, in fact, that's, you know where the 70 languages, the issue or the talk about 70 languages started all way back in the book of Genesis. with the Tower of Babel.
Okay.
You know, there were 70 languages originally, 70 nations originally, right? So
What was there wasn't 70 nations till after they were split.
No,
But they split, yeah.
So yeah, so but there was one language in Babel, right?
Yeah, that's when Nimrod,
There was one language in Babel,
Yeah.
and then when the split happened, when they were building the tower, God said, "These guys, I don't know," right? He now caused them to confuse their languages.
Mhm.
So at that time, if you look at all those genealogies, all those nations that were listed, there were 70 of them.
Yeah.
Right? So in Jewish tradition, 70 has always been the number for the nations.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
yeah.
But I don't know if I necessarily agree that it was given in 70 different languages.
Well, I mean,
Well, it's like,
I
when you think about that already, Brother Wesley, you're thinking of a Greek.
yeah,
That
Why?
because you're fitting it into numeracy, specificity,
yeah,
and in a Jewish mindset, it's kind of it's a whole. It's a cyclical way that it doesn't necessarily mean 70, 70, 70.
Mhm.
But let's say, for example, when we say forgive 70 times 7
Yeah.
times 7, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like you have to count 7 times 7. Something like that.
So yeah, exactly.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not that
it's
Yeah.
Well, it's a symbolic
It was
number.
symbolic number. In fact, a lot of numbers in the Bible are very like they're symbolic. It's not like what the word was saying about the Greek thinking, because we should even do like some kind of teaching on Greek.
I understand what you're thinking, but I'm just saying that I don't.
I'm guilty of
70 languages.
Yeah. So those 7, yeah. So it's a.
That's what I'm saying.
Can I say it's
No,
a?
of course, we agree.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. So I'm trying to understand
We
Yeah.
agree that it's not
what you meant.
Can I say it's a poetic way of putting it?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
When you say there's something, and if you want exact numbers, the sacrifices during Sukkot were 70, right? They killed exactly 70 cattle. 13 on the first day, 12, 11,
Yeah.
right? And all 7 days, if you add those numbers, it's 70. So that's why 70 has always been. And Yeshua, I think he had 70, he had a 70, a book of 70, right? Yeshua had a group of 70 disciples.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started with 70.
There's the inner 12, and then there's the 70 elders, 70. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's significant numbers in the scriptures. 7, 70, same thing.
Yeah.
Right? 12, 10. 13 is a good number. 13 is a good number. And you go to some buildings, there's no 13 in the floors because they believe there's something bad.
Bad.
Yeah. But 13 in Torah thinking it's a good number. 13 stands for love. 13, 12, 2 times 13 is 26. 26 is the number for the name of God. In fact, you should Google number 26 and read about that number.
Okay.
It is so unique. It will blow your mind. The number 26, as discovered by a mathematician. That number 26 is a one and only number. There's no number like it on earth. And that's the numerical number for the name of God. It's amazing. So, one last thing I wanted to address was Sister Carol mentioned darkness and light, right? And then I now talked about the 7th plague, right? I think maybe verse 24. It says there was hail and fire flashing continually in the midst of the hail. So that 7th plague was hail, which is ice, which is water. And there was fire flashing in within the halo. So only God could make water and fire coexist in the same substance, right? And before you think too far, think about your body. A human being is 80% water, and your temperature, your normal temperature is like 37 thereabouts.
You're the one with kids. You better learn that.
Yeah. 37, yeah. Yeah, if it's above 37, then it's really bad. So we human beings are water and fire coexisting. When a person dies, it's cold, and only God can do that. So,
Well done.
Talking about the darkness and the light at the same time. Interesting. So I tried volunteering to be a firefighter, and it's interesting when the fire is burning, it also creates smoke, and it's so dark you can't see. But inside where the fire is, you really can't see then, because even though it's burning so bright, it's like darkness almost, because you can't really see past it, and the darkness from the smoke is just something else. You just can't see it. So they kind of also work together, which is interesting, because thinking about a hard time is the whole idea of Sheol and all of that.
Well done.
Thank you.
Cool.
This ends up our 50 Shavuot week. Well, and it really brings us to a point that we still have so many things to learn. And we're quite far off.
The more I learn, the stupider I get.
That's right. And a very good thing, I remember one thing in Turkey about is like it didn't say that you have to make converts or when you have conversations with everyone that you try to convert someone to your own thinking. But then he uses a word in there that you have to make disciples. And interesting to note that the Torah in the new apostolic writings, the book of Matthew says in there that we have to make disciples of all nations. So it's like, we had a conversation a while back with, last night with Brother Wesley. And when you go into Torah study, you can come to a sweet spot in our age, in a maturity age, that even in every page that you open the Bible, you could always connect it to another part in the Bible. It jumps out.
Yeah.
From Revelation, there's a connection here, there's a connection, and everything connects to each other. It's interesting to note that Brother Anthony today again, he said that, the Torah, of course, doesn't disagree with each other. Then earlier this morning, we were having a conversation that the Torah, with her, the Torah, when it was written, there was no mistake in it. Numerology, something. You see, there is, of course, when it was written, there would be kind of, in this portion it says this is how many people was in there, but in this portion it says that this is how many people that are in it, right? Also, does it mean that the Bible disagree, right? Or the Torah is disagree with each other? No, not really. It's the good thing there is, we are the ones who are disagreeing with the Torah. It's us not the Torah. So we have to put ourselves, immerse ourselves into the Torah, and then that's where we understand the Torah. There's no mistakes in the Torah, and everything comes together. And then the word, what was tikkun? Tikkun is a principle in the Torah that it says repairing the
Reparation.
or what's the
repair of the world.
Yeah.
repair of the world. And it's redemption of the world. And that is the mission. That is the mission of God. That whatever happens before, God is trying to. God in His mission is to repair the world. Economy. Going back to that original plan of God. And one of the reasons why He brought in His Son is to repair the world, to repair us, and to put that Torah back to the world and to us. And when the Torah brings it back to us, brings it to this nation, to see, going all over now, right? Going all over now. The lampstand is a lampstand for all the nations. That's why he used. That's why he used the Jewish people to be a light to the world. Yeshua also became the light to the nation, to the nations, right? So everything goes back together, and we are just grateful to the Lord that He has led us to Himself and surrounded us with good people, resources. And, we make use of them. And we just thank the Lord for those who have gone on before us, who have laid us the path of this to righteousness. And so going back to the word of Jordan yesterday, it's intergenerational, generation to generation. We have introduced that word already to our teachings before, right? From Lidor Vidor, generation to generation. We teach it to our children, and then children will be able to teach it to their children's children. Now, in discipleship, why did in the Visorah it says make disciples of all nations? Because disciples will make disciples. Their disciples will make disciples. The disciples, the original disciples of Yeshua made disciples. They made disciples. And they teach what they learned from their teachers, from their teachers' teachers, from their teachers' teachers. Right? So it's a long line. And then what did it say in the Torah, in the Torah? It says, do not call someone a rabbi, right? Because there is only one rabbi, Yeshua. So now, what he teaches to us goes on down to us, right? So that is why our teachings go up like this. I teach this in the name of my rabbi, in the name of my rabbi, in the name of my rabbi, and then it goes back to Yeshua, our rabbi. So now, there goes then our authentic authority. And that's how it is. Bidor, generation to generation. So let's close our camp, and we will see you next Shabbat in Fairmont Drive. And before we start, probably while the others are preparing our food, let us clean up the hall, clean up our rooms, and so that we will be ready for our big meal. And then our week is done. It's a long week, I know, but it refreshes me. So,
Went by fast.
all right, let's all stand up. Brother Andrew, please close us in a word of prayer.
Father, thank you for this wonderful weekend with all these wonderful people. Thank you for blessing us and putting your word into our ears, into our minds, into our hearts. Thank you for all the wonderful food and the wonderful fellowship that we've had. Continue to bless us going forward. Continue to use this to fuel us so that we can further spread your word and just honor you to the best of our abilities. In the name of Yeshua, amen.
Amen. Please help around cleaning up our floor. Everything.